Hello, everybody. This is Craig Cooper, the owner of Bikes to You, and this is the beginning of our 2018 RAGBRAI Charter webinar. And with me, I have Kyle Yeager, who is our Charter Director, as well as Chrissy Seaholm, who is my sister and the operator of RAGBRAI in Style, as well as the all-around good guy in charge of everything, Dave Huff. Dave's a longtime friend of the bike shop and is just going to sit in on this. We have kind of a simple platform here. It's just a quick PowerPoint presentation, and you can type in any questions that you might have for us. We'll see those questions. You can and try to answer them, accordingly. And we'll have an extensive question and answer session at the end. So I'll just begin by welcoming and introducing Kyle. Hi, Kyle. Hello. And Dave. Hello. And my sister, Chrissy. I'm not sure if her audio is going to work. Chrissy, are you there?
I am. Hello.
Oh, all right. It's working. Great. All right. Well, okay, we'll go ahead and get started. And like I said, we just do this little webinar to try to provide some information and hopefully clear up any logistical questions. We want to welcome you and thank you for joining our charter. The charter is a big part of what we do every year. Not only are we a RAGBRAI bicycle shop, but we provide the charter service. It's something that we really enjoy doing, and it's a challenge every year because RAGBRAI gets bigger and different, and it's always something. So what we're going to try to cover in this is shipping your bicycle, packing your bags, first day check-in, not getting to Lansing, getting to Ottawa. We got a mistake there. We just proofread this, so we both missed it. What a typical day of RAGBRAI is like if you're a newbie, and getting home at the end of the week. So there we go.
First off, shipping your bike. Some of you are going to be shipping your bikes in, so we want those to arrive by Tuesday, July 17th. Reason that is that if things get lost, we need a couple of days to be able to make sure that they are found. UPS and FedEx do not consider bikes to be lost until they have been missing for 3 days. So we want to make sure that we get your bike and get it to the start town. We will inspect your bike when it arrives in the bike shop. We're going to make sure that there's nothing been damaged, and then we will put it on the truck. We will not actually unpack your bike until we get to the start town. Part of that is because we got a bunch of mechanics out at the start town, and they can do it quite quickly. So,
well, and I'll also add that we feel that the box is probably easier to pack and stack in the trailer. But we open every box and look for any obvious damage that might be there, so that we can clear that up ahead of time, and that we're not trying to chase that down out in Ottawa. When you ship your bikes, there is a shipping service that you can use at ragbrai.com. Of course, there's a whole variety of those that are popped up out there. You can ship the bike. Oh, we would prefer that you ship the bike directly to the bike shop as opposed to the start of RAGBRAI. You've got a friend in Iowa, and that's us. And if you're shipping your bicycle, we'd like to see it. We don't charge for our assembly at the beginning of the ride. That's included in the charter price, where if you ship it to the start, you'll have to have, or you normally would pay the beginning town bike shop to put that together.
We do charge to pack them up at the end of the week if you would like us to box them.
Correct. Yep. And we have a couple of ways that we can do that. You can ship your bikes from the end of the ride at the dip site. There is a service that does that, and you can certainly do that outside of us. But if you'd like us to pack your bikes back up, we will do that. And we have two methods. We have a local shipper in town called Total Choice Shipping, or you may send us a call tag generated by any number of the bike shipping companies. And some people have their label that's already inside the box, and we'll save your box, and we'll keep that label throughout the week and put it on at the end of the week to send your bike back. And we will, sometimes folks fly with their bicycle, bring it in a box, and we will be able to help pack those bikes in the flying cases if you need assistance.
How to pack. RAGBRAI is a little bit different. You're not going to a hotel every night. So one of the things that we strongly suggest is pack everything in Ziploc bags. It rains, and I don't care how waterproof your tent is, it is not tsunami proof. Every once in a while, we get a big storm, and tents do tend to leak a little bit. So please pack everything in some kind of a waterproof bag. We suggest one outfit per Ziploc bag. That way, in the morning, you get up, you grab one bag out of your main bag, open it up, you've got your jersey, you've got your shorts in there, you got your socks. You're able to just go out of that one bag. That makes things a lot easier. Sometimes people like to have a little day trip bag that they have on their bike while they're out on the route. If there's anything that you guys think is important to put in there, you can use the chat window and type those in, and we'll share those. Some people, I would highly suggest, some people take sunscreen, a little bottle of that. Definitely your flat repair kit.
Chamois butter. Yeah. Mosquito repellent. We've had a lot of wet weather this year. I think mosquitoes are going to be a deal. So, just in your normal course of cycling, you don't have to bring, everything but the kitchen sink, but just the things that you use on a normal daily basis for your day bag. So, as far as packing goes, for luggage, we instituted this program several years ago where we really don't care how much stuff you bring. You can bring as many bags as you want, but we want them to be 30 pounds or less. And our request is that several years ago, we were getting to a point where everybody put their entire contents in one giant tote that weighed 100 pounds. And our guys are, they're young.
Then they got wet.
Yeah, well, they're young and strong, but it's still really backbreaking work with those heavy bags. So 30 pounds or less, as many as you want. And I've already had this question. You can sure bring an inexpensive folding chair if you bring something that you don't care if it gets damaged or goes missing. There's a caveat to this. The people that have our tent service have chairs provided, as well as our RAGBRAI and Style folks have chairs provided as well. But when it comes to baggage, we have the 2-city block rule, which is you need to be able to carry your own baggage 2 city blocks. It doesn't happen very often, but we have had occasions where we are not allowed to park near our campsite, and consequently, you got to carry your bags, to where you set your tent up. And like I said, it's rarely been an issue, but I think it also helps pare down how much stuff folks bring.
It's also partially because we get about 1 acre of ground for all of our campsites, and if you're one of the last people to get in, you may have to walk your stuff to the back side of the campsite, which is probably about 2 city blocks.
It can be a ways back Things to pack, a tent, obviously, if you don't have our tent service or not a RAGBRAI style customer, sleeping pad, sleeping bag, or some sort of bedding. We would suggest at least 3 pairs of shorts and jerseys and, non-riding clothes. And, you guys, it's going to be hot and sweaty out there, so pack those non-riding clothes accordingly. Once again, you can bring a chair if you're not on our tent service. I think I kind of stress this every year, and it seems like, there's always a plethora of food and stuff out there, but I think it's okay to bring, some of your own nutritionals, ahead of time. That way you've got those, and you're not reliant on, on a bike shop or, somebody to be in the, in the right place at the right time for those nutritionals. And this is now our second year, and we're going to call this the first real year of our shower trailer. Last year was the beta test year, and it seemingly worked out pretty darn good. So we would recommend that you bring a couple of towels. One of the things that we're going to introduce for this year, and Kyle has kind of chided me a little bit about it, but we have 5-gallon buckets with plungers, and we have kit wash from Chamois Butter people, and we're going to try to get our hands on our old Ringer washer so that you guys can do your own laundry right there in the camp. And that's something that's yet to be made, but we're going to work on it here in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, I was just going to say, we're getting a few questions, and we'll kind of answer those either in private or at the end of it.
Things not to pack: computers, anything that's breakable. Our baggage guys are pretty darn careful with your bags. However, the thing is that all of these bags get packed onto a semi truck, and that's a lot of weight sitting on top of your bag if it's at the bottom. So we don't want you to bring anything that's breakable that if it was in your bag at the bottom of that pile would potentially break. So please leave those at home. Plus, your cell phones are pretty much useless on RAGBRAI.
I mean, obviously bring your cell phone.
Bring your cell phone, yeah. But, there's not much for internet service when 30,000 people descend on town. 4,000.
Right. And the spare inner tube comment, Kyle always puts that on there, but this year I'm going to tell you, you're going to need some spare inner tubes, I think. So I just got back from the pre-ride, and we went through a few of them out there. If you have any questions on what to pack or how to pack, we have some additional information on our website at bikestu.com, and or you're welcome to email or call either one of us, and those will be those emails go to both of us. So we will make sure that we have get those answered. We'll go to the next one.
Scott asked, will InStyle include bedding, or do we need to bring our own bedding and sleeping bags?
And the answer to that is there are sheets and pillows and pillowcases, but a blanket or a sleeping bag cover-up you would need to bring. But the sheets and the pillows and pillowcases are included. Okay, if you're flying into Des Moines, we offer airport pickup service, and many of you have already communicated that to us. We have where we can pick you up there. We've got several hotels and bed and breakfasts in Grinnell, and those are on our website as far as phone numbers and how to contact them. If you have any any problems or any questions, certainly give us a shout. But you'll want to come in on Friday if you're flying into Des Moines. If you fly in on Saturday, it will be too late. So come in Friday. Yeah.
Several of the Airbnbs are within about 2 blocks of the bike shop.
Correct.
So those are quite convenient. if that's something that you are interested in. We always have plenty of people staying at the hotels, and so people tend to share rides and figure out how to get from the hotels back into downtown. But it's not too far, and if we need to, we can help with coordinating that kind of a thing as well.
Well, I was going to say, and not to have a shameless plug, but I think 2 of our Airbnbs that my wife and I own are open both the night before that Friday night as well as the Saturday night we come home. So if you need to get in, if you're still looking, give me a contact or a call and we'll get you set up. On Friday at the bike shop, we're open until 8 o'clock. We do try to pack as many of the bicycles on the semi-truck on Friday night. And you may drop your bags at the shop. We have some people that either are bringing, they're getting dropped off by somebody with a smaller vehicle and or riding their bicycle downtown or what have you. So you may drop your bags off at the shop Friday night. Just know that there's nothing going to happen to those until the buses show up the next morning, and really you're going to need to come in and pick them up and go put them on the bus. For RAGBRAI and Style folks, Saturday morning you bring your bags down and those go directly into your room. The RAGBRAI and Style room vehicles will be outside, and you get your room assignment and be able to put those directly in your room. So Saturday morning we have check-in from 6:45 to 7:45 a.m. If you need to park a vehicle, it's going to be at 7:15 a.m. We need to get your vehicle in place. We have a parking lot that the college has agreed to let us use. It's not too far from us. We'll have a little map, and we do run a shuttle over there, so you don't have to walk the 2.5 or 3 blocks. It's a secure location. There's no fencing and there's no cameras or anything like that. We just have never had a problem. It's very residential Grinnell, and I will see that there's an issue with that. Oh, here, the link to the map will be included in the itinerary email with all the other maps. And Kyle, you've got a lot of those maps done?
I have some of them done.
Okay.
There's not, the itinerary email will come out, and then we will get out the email about the maps as soon as we have them ready. We're waiting for towns to publish their maps so that we can then cross-reference our routes with theirs.
Yeah, there's a fair amount of logistical planning in doing our maps, in that we need to know where the town brings the cyclists in, and some of the towns are actually still working on that. Additionally, there's other issues that sometimes a town will close down city streets adjacent to the route and make them not usable from our standpoint. So those are kind of last minute things, but you will get the best, freshest map before we leave electronically. So those will be coming. This year the buses are going to leave at 8 a.m. We've got a relatively easy jaunt over to Ottawa, and we always like to get in place by noon or just after, so that folks can enjoy the expo that day. I've got a question from a gentleman, I believe. Is there camping option available in Grinnell? Interestingly enough, we do have a nice green space just about a block and a half from the bike shop that you're able to pitch a tent. Unfortunately, there's no restroom facilities or shower facilities there, but you can certainly camp there. And it's a property that my wife and I own. There's plenty of yard space there for many camps. Michael Flatter asked, parking the same location as last year, and yes, same place. And I think that's all we've got going right now, so we'll just keep on. Bike transportation.
Yeah. all of the bikes will be loaded onto the semi-trailer to go to Ottawa. And then we will do the same when we get to Davenport. All of the bikes will go on the semi and they will come back to Grinnell. We put packing blankets over the bikes inside of the truck. We used to turn the handlebars and take the pedals off and cardboard in between them. And at the point where we started working with C&K Transfer, we got access to a lot of blankets and everything ran a lot smoother. And we have
less damage, and it packs easier and packs tighter, and that's just been a good change for us.
We do still have, there are some people that like to put pipe insulation around their bike frames just to give them an extra layer of protection. That is totally fine. If you wish to do that, please feel free to do that.
Yeah, and I'm going to add something to that. Every bike that, our desire is that every bike that comes off of the transport semi gets a quick safety check by one of our mechanics or myself, and if in doubt, if your bike you don't know if your bike's been looked at, please just see one of the Bikes to You workers, and we will be able to be identified, and we'll be happy to assist in that. We want everybody to have an absolutely safe start to the ride, and and we, like I said, it's been either Kyle and I packing that truck the last several years, and we do each bicycle as if it was our own, and we really haven't had too many problems. So.
At the beginning, when you all arrive on Saturday morning, if you bought credentials through the bike club, those will be available out front of the bike shop. Not everybody has done that. Some of you have your credentials already. Please make sure you have those with you. You are responsible for your own bags. Please load them on the charter bus that you ride. We say this every year.
And take them off.
And take them off.
Yeah. So you'll handle your bags going out to the ride and to where we unload.
If we run out of room under the buses, there is always extra room in some of our trucks, vans, and usually the end of the semi. So if that happens, we will get your bags on, and we will describe how that will work at that time.
Yeah, it's where to pick it up. Yeah.
We will also have a couple of staff standing at the front of the buses, and they will be checking people in. Usually what we do is we open up one bus, and when that one starts to get full, we'll put another staff member by a second bus, and so then we can load people onto those, and we just kind of work down the line until everybody's on a bus.
And we do, the last 2 years, we've used the check-in process from Eventbrite, an actual app, and it is, if you have your little QR code, we do actually use that. Yep. So it has been useful. You can have it on your phone, or you can print it off. Yeah, just like going on an airline. If you have any questions about getting to Ottawa, please type those, to the bar there. We'll read those and move on. Okay, so Kyle, I'm going to let you take care of this.
Yeah. Once we get out there and first day, first day, all bags left out at nightfall will be loaded onto the semi-truck. That is partially because we don't want your bags getting wet, and also we want to prepare as much as we can for the next day as possible. It's kind of a rush to get out of camp the next day for us. But we do not unload those bags in the next morning. So if your bag is left out, it will be packed and it will be on the truck until we get to the next town.
Correct.
Any unneeded bags that you may have, some people, if you pack 3 bags and you only need one of them for the night, you are more than welcome to bring those, set them on the truck in the evening, and we will load those in the back of the truck. please place your bag on the semi in the morning. Sometimes we get a big pile of bags next to the semi, and that adds, we need an extra staff member then to get it into the semi, and then for the guys to get it to the back of the semi. So please put it on the semi in the morning. Water will be available in the morning. We keep our coolers out. We always put a couple of extra water jugs out to make sure that everybody can fill their water bottles in the morning. The charging station, sports drink, and alcohol will not be. That gets packed in the truck the night before. And our semi-truck leaves at 7:30 a.m. That usually is not a problem for anybody to get up. Usually there are plenty of people rummaging around, tearing down their tents, and it's usually not a problem for people to get up in the morning and get moving.
Yep.
I will not be waking anybody up at 4:30 in the morning. I know that people thought somehow that I did that. I was still asleep. I want to sleep as much as you all want to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, so 7:30 sharp, 7:30 a.m. sharp is when that rolls, and we've got quite a bit of stuff that we need to get set up in the next town, and that's why we have to be kind of punctual about doing that. Scott has asked, does the trailer have a power plug? The RAGBRAI style trailers do have AC outlets in them, so you can bring your charger that plugs into a normal 110, duplex plug, and then our charging station has, I don't even remember, there's 36 per unit.
Plugs, I think, per unit.
Yeah.
We've got 2 units.
Yeah, so we have plenty of room for people to charge their cell phones, and we generally try to put that under a tent, which makes it not waterproof, but
water resistant.
Yeah.
Also means that your phones are shaded so the batteries don't overheat and stop charging.
Okay, so I'll kind of go with this. During the day, drink plenty of water. This year's ride, this is where I'll talk a little bit about the pre-ride. I was on the route inspection team this year, and for the 5th or 6th year. This year's route, I believe, is more challenging than maybe the media and the RAGBRAI website might have led us to believe early on. There are plenty of hills that first and second day. The first day is short, and that's merciful because it is plenty hilly. If you do the gravel loop, the first, which I did ride the gravel loop, the first 8 miles of the gravel loop are relatively flat, but have a few hills, and the last 12 or 13 miles after the town on the gravel loop is absolute up and down razorback gravel, and it is probably the toughest 10 miles you'll ride. The gravel, by the way, is relatively good gravel. What I mean by that is that there's a bottom to the road, and barring that a maintainer hasn't been by, or that it rains that morning, you can, I think you can ride. You can ride that with a standard road bike. Now, someone just asked me. Well, I do want to comment on that because I think you do need at least a 700 by 28C tire to ride the gravel. That aggregate is relatively large, and one of the guys on there was riding some 25s, and he said he was a little bit uncomfortable. But going back to the route itself, I'll just kind of continue on. Jefferson to Ames is a relatively easy day with just a couple of big hills. One of those is, both of them are actually in and out of the river valley there, but the second one is in Ledges State Park, and it it is a bear. My suspicion is that there'll be so many people on it that it'll be tough to ride it because of the different paces. That, but it is rideable. I can tell you that much, and it's just a tough one. The day from Ames to Newton is a bit deceptive. It starts off relatively flat, and then as you turn south, you get into some rolling hills, and there are quite a few hills right before going into Newton, and that was my most challenging day. Was from Ames to Newton. It was hot. We had a pretty serious headwind out of the south, and it was got hilly at the end, and we were kind of wishing for an easier part. Newton to Sigourney is a super nice ride, very Iowa-esque, I would call it. Rolling to moderate hills. Sigourney to Iowa City, pretty easy ride. The last day is going to be the real kicker. It's relatively long for our last day, and it's not flat. I'm not sure that if we get hit with some Mother Nature, whether it be wind or rain on that last day, that could be a tough one. Has somebody asked me climbing elevation? What's the elevation and the gradient? Well, I'll be the first to tell you I'm not a Garmin guy. I think that I was going to say I think it's on the website, but I think the pre-writers did have Garmin's on, but that Ledges hill is I think it's got to be close to 11 or 12% grade, and its elevation change is not a lot for that particular hill. I want to say that it's like 158 feet, but it felt like a ladder. But anyway, that last day, I think we're going to watch the weather, and we make adjustments to our end of the day schedule based on the weather and the like. Remember that I guess I'm going to go back to our general discussions here. RAGBRAI is not a race. The best part of RAGBRAI is enjoying the pass-through towns, taking your time, meeting other people, and just having a good time. There's plenty of places to stop and get under some shade, and to relax. It is going to be important to drink water, plenty of water this year. I think, by all indications, we're headed for some additional heat right now. And there are a few stretches where there is very little as far as communities go. So you want to make sure that you have at least 2 water bottles on your bike, so that we can or that you can carry the water. And I would encourage you to fill up whenever you can. From a safety standpoint, the biggest thing with RAGBRAI is I would encourage you I know there's a huge group of people out there, but ride right of the center line and communicate with riders around you. If you're stopping or slowing, and if you've not been on a big ride like this, learn the vernacular of RAGBRAI talk. Announce what you're going to do. If you're passing, announce it. RAGBRAI riders would appreciate more if you say on your left than if you roll up beside them and scare the daylights out of them. And communicate if you're stopping or slowing, coming onto the route, all of those things. If you see a hazard, call it out. Rumble strips, bumps, potholes, you name it. I will say that I think that this is going to be a pretty good year for pie. Pre-riders get to participate in some of the RAGBRAI preparation, and we ate a lot of pie this year. So severe weather, that's something that, we've really been pretty fortunate on all the years of RAGBRAI. But, if there's, I think most people have ridden in the rain, but when it comes to lightning, I think that's the time. I mean, everybody's an adult, they can make their own decisions, but that's a time to seek shelter. And whether it be in a farm, a farmstead where they might, farmers will open up build their barns or whatever. At a minimum, if there's really severe weather, laying down in a ditch and covering your head, provided it's not full of water, is not out of the question. You don't have to rush. You know that we have a campsite already picked out. It's got plenty of room for our folks. And once again, the maps will be emailed out in July. Yeah. So you have something to add, Kyle?
Yeah, one more thing on the severe weather. One of the things that makes RAGBRAI great is the hospitality of the people of Iowa. And something that we regularly tell people is, if there's severe weather, go knock on the nearest farmhouse door. They'll probably invite you in. They will probably feed you. And if the storm is there long enough and you're in their house long enough, you'll probably end up on their Christmas card list.
Yeah. It's been a really great experience for people. So just hang out. Good news, it rarely rains in Iowa all day long. Yeah. It's usually a thunderstorm that rolls through, and then you can get back on the bike. So let's see. As far as camp goes, here's how we kind of do things. We're going to come back to these some of these questions, but we'll work through this. Kyle will start signing. We place signs to get to our campsite, even though you have maps. He will start signing at the beginning of town and follow the main RAGBRAI route as long as possible. And that means that the city, essentially the city limits are, we will begin signing, and we will stay on the RAGBRAI route until we absolutely cannot. And then there'll be signs directing you. Those signs look like the sign that we have here. They're blue. There are a couple of other clubs that have similar looking signs. The Burlington Bicycle Club.
No, Bob Bransel.
Oh, Bob Bransel. Oh, yeah. His are yellow though, aren't they?
No, his are blue.
His are blue?
His are blue. And they have an arrow, and they say BBC on them. But the BBC is not inside the arrow.
Okay. Well, there you go. Yeah, I was going to say, we'll have to duke it out with Bob. But no, we're all good friends amongst the charters. But we try to post these every block or two, depending on what the availability is. And if you do not see signs, you want to keep following and you're still on the rider route. Keep following the rider route until you see our sign again. Obviously we do post when we're turning right or left. Try to give ample, to the extent that we can, give ample, warning to turn. And remember that at the end of the day, everybody is tired, and it's easy to get confused. It's easy to do things like not turn when you're supposed to turn. And, if sometimes it's just a matter of stopping and getting your bearings and going, okay, I got the map. I know where, in general where we're at. But we really have not had navigational issues in the last couple of years. We go through a lot of signs each year. So, yeah. So, I guess I'll gloat about this again. So once again, we do have a new shower trailer. It was new last year, brand new. Last year was basically a beta test. We have a self-contained 1,500 gallon tank that we pick up fresh water and we dump our gray water every night. But we built this specifically to handle a group of 200 or less people, and the idea is that we can still get some really good campsites because we don't have to be near a fire hydrant and we don't have to be near a sanitary sewer, and yet we can still provide showers for our customers. And so it's unique in its design, and we would ask that you conserve water to the extent that you can. We do have the old MASH military style chain that you got to pull in order to make the water work, but nobody seemed to complain last year, and it worked really well. We do have one night this year. RAGBRAI came to us, the RAGBRAI officials came to us and said, we've got some issues in some towns where our shower situation is desperate. And so one night we are going to have another small charter come over to our shower trailer. Is that Jefferson?
Yes.
Okay.
Jefferson.
It'll be in Jefferson. That night may take slightly longer to shower, but it's like I said, we're trying to be a good citizen of RAGBRAI, and be helpful to those folks. So anyway, I just thought I'd put that out there. That one night it may be a little more crowded, but it should work out. If you have any questions about daily riding, and I think there was a couple. Yeah, I saw that one. I'm not certain if they've nailed down. Somebody asked if James is doing the bike exchange on the gravel loop, and I need to reference the RAGBRAI website because I'm not certain if they've worked that relationship out. It had not been done as of 3 weeks ago when we were that one in private. Okay. And then so Kevin asked about cleaning their water bottles. We have fresh filtered water. Last year, part of the shower trailer was we set up a filter system so that you can both fill and clean your water bottle with filtered water. We get city water that is potable, drinkable, good water. And then we filter it, so it's even better yet. James,
sinks on the back.
And we do have the sinks on the back as well, and that is filtered water.
Yep.
Where you brush your teeth and that kind of thing. James asked, are the mornings just shoulder to shoulder, and when does it spread out? That is a really good question, James, because it does vary every day. I'm going to start out to say that if your thought is you're going to get an early start and beat the crowd, you're going to be riding in pitch black, dark night.
Please don't.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I would just encourage you not to. If you want to ride by yourself, hang out in the town for 3 or 4 hours and take off and go, at 9 o'clock or something. Because we're a RAGBRAI repair shop and because we get assigned to locations, I often have to be at a location at 5 a.m. and we, depending on where we are at, can be busy at 5 a.m. This year I am 7 miles outside of town at 5 o'clock in the morning of the first at Ottawa, and so I will be out there super early. But the crowds, are pretty thick, and I would say through about 8 o'clock in the morning, you're going to see the bulk of the riders leaving. If you do leave in the dark, you should have a headlight and a tail light. And I want to stress this in the most strongest terms that I can. Do not ride off route. The vehicles that are off route on RAGBRAI are people that are not happy that they're not on their regular road, or not locals, i.e. other support vehicles for RAGBRAI, that are lost and tired. It is ridiculously dangerous to ride on any other road than the route from town to town on RAGBRAI. And I can't stress it enough. I actually witnessed a rider get hit. Dave and I were in a vehicle, and it was absolutely terrible. We were on the support route, and somebody got hit, and fortunately they did not die, but it was gut wrenching. You can start earlier to avoid some of the heat. In Iowa, it usually really doesn't get hot until 10:30, 11 in the morning, and you can definitely get a jump start to do that. Like I said, I would encourage you to take your time, and work your way across the state and enjoy the ride.
I would say if you're able to just fly through the pass-through towns, you're missing RAGBRAI.
Yeah.
And that's really, these towns roll out the red carpet for us, and they put on such an amazing event. And RAGBRAI is about the people and the community that you get to experience as you're rolling across the state with them.
I'll add to that. Everybody thinks that RAGBRAI, the entity, is like somehow, making tons of money off of RAGBRAI. The truth is, it's not exactly a cash cow, and the communities are what make RAGBRAI happen. Because without them, if this was a total for-profit event, there's just nobody who could support 25,000 people in this manner. And I can't tell you how many fire departments and different entities are trying to raise money for their local town to buy new apparatus for their firefighters, or they're trying to rebuild the downtown square, and jerseys for the baseball team. There's so many opportunities to stop and get involved and help support these communities and give back. And so anyway, that's on on the side of taking it easy. Somebody asked about cell service out there, and what I will tell you is that it is improving in Iowa, but when RAGBRAI is in a community, we overwhelm the towers, especially going along on the road too. If you're in the path, there's definitely a point where there is no service. We process credit cards via the data networks, and about the time that I can see more than 1,000 people around me in one of these small towns, data service vanishes, and it will be gone for 3 to 5 hours, depending on the number of people. And then in the overnight towns, it's in most scenarios, it is just downright non-existent. And it can be very, very frustrating. I'll be the first to tell you that, because obviously we try to conduct business, and it's tough. So it's make those arrangements the best that you can to not have to not have to use that cell phone or be able to communicate to someone else to be able to make those to make those phone calls.
Texts are usually pretty reliable to get out, but yeah, phone calls can be very difficult.
Sometimes texts take a long time to go.
Yeah.
So, Nicole, who's been a number of RAGBRAI, says libraries are the key to the Wi-Fi at a library. So thanks for that. If you see a library, and there are some places that do set up and say, come in and use our Wi-Fi. So I forgot about that, and thank you, Nicole, for putting that out there.
Also, Craig, they also are the ones who also are looking to raise money.
Oh, sure. So they do it for donation.
No, they sell corn, they sell pie, they sell postcards.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Typically, I have a question. Typically, how far apart are the vendors or access to water and food? Historically, people gain weight on RAGBRAI, so there's quite a bit of food out there. This is, I think this year there's some unusual stretches. We have, I think, a 19-mile stretch, a 15-mile stretch, maybe a couple of 13-mile stretches where there are no towns and very little places to set up on the side of the road. So that it's gonna be a little bit interesting with those longer stretches, but typically every pass-through town has a water supply set up, and there's some sort of vendor that some sort of vendor that has set up to sell food. So let's see, what else can we answer here? Lots of folks who sell water, roadside. Michael Flatter says there are lots, and there are plenty of people that are selling water. And again, farms. Okay. All right, we're gonna move on. How are we doing on time? 8:22. Okay.
Getting home. If you are leaving the ride before we arrive in Davenport, please tell me. Just like we check you all in when we leave to go to the start of the ride, we check everybody in as they get on the bus. So if I don't know that you are not joining us on the bus, I get really concerned because I really don't want to leave people in the last town. So please let me know. I'll make a note of it. That way I'm not frantically trying to call you.
We really do make an effort to try to locate everybody that has not notified us to make sure that they're accounted for coming home. So if you do leave the ride, please tell Kyle or one of his associates, I guess.
We place signage after the dip site. So please ride to the dip site, and then once you get there, if you don't want to dip, that's totally fine. Just get there and turn around, and you'll probably start seeing the blue signs. Yeah. We'll put signs all the way to the semi and the buses. Charter buses will leave Davenport at 3 p.m. RAGBRAI, we say we have never left a sober person in the end town.
Yeah. So but we do. We're gonna, we'll get those buses full, and once one bus is full, then we're gonna send them off. Kind of depends on the weather conditions and what the riding conditions are that days. The semi, this is something that's very important. The semi that carries the bikes will be the very last vehicle to leave the campsite, which means if you're on the first bus, you could arrive in Grinnell hours before the semi does. I'm just going to put it out there. I think last year, I mean, we were a long way away, but I'm not sure that the semi arrived until 8:30 or 9 o'clock that night. I'd like to think that it would be earlier than that, somewhere along the lines of 7 o'clock or earlier, but it simply is our main portion of the, how we get bikes back and forth. So that's, oops, what did I do? I'm going to mess something up. So you ultimately going to have to hang out in Grinnell and get a pizza or what have you, and wait on the bus or on the semi. Additionally, for the RAGBRAI and Style customers, and there'll be some additional communication on this, the RAGBRAI and Style customers will take their baggage off on Saturday morning and off of the RAGBRAI and Style trailers, the bunkhouses, and the baggage will go on our baggage truck, so that we can send the RAGBRAI and Style trailers home on Saturday morning. The shower truck will go to Davenport, and we will plan on setting up the showers in Davenport so that you can get a shower and before you get on the bus. So that's a possibility there.
A couple of questions. Michael asked if we are close to the dip site in Davenport. We are not as close to the dip site as we were last time we were in Davenport. Last time we negotiated with the local business to be able to set up in there. However, and this gets to one of the other questions, we have partnered with Pork Bellies to take care of getting people at the beginning of the ride, so the Saturday that we start, getting people from the end town to the start town. So we need to be somewhere on the shuttle route so that people can get from our area to their vehicles that are being parked in the overnight town. In Davenport, yeah. So we are having to be at one of the official load up spots, and I am actually still in conversation with them about which one of those sites we are at. That has not been set quite yet.
That goes, kind of answers that other question someone asked. Is it possible to leave your car in Davenport? And if so, how do I get my bike to Grinnell? So the folks that are leaving their bike in Davenport, we have an option. And if you haven't done that and you would like to make that the way that you do that, contact us individually and we'll give you instructions on how to do that. It's like I said, we have a relationship with the Pork Belly folks. We have helped them out on occasion, and they help us out by taking a few of our folks from the in town to the start town. We're just simply not big enough yet to operate. I mean, we don't. I say yet. we like the size that we are. We just don't have that as a service.
Yeah. Let's not say yet.
Yeah. Where is the location okay, if you've signed up for that service, there's going to be
Augustana College is where vehicles are being left.
Okay. And there'll be additional information coming to you about times and buses. And we report to the Pork Belly people after July 1st, our numbers, and then we kind of give them the info of the people that are doing that, and then they shuttle, and then they make the contact to get everybody on a bus. So, and my Memphis folks, yes, they will get your bikes too. They will take your bikes and your baggage to the start of the Ottawa.
Yep, in Ottawa, and we are. We're actually about 2 blocks away from Pork Belly's campsite in Ottawa, so it's going to be super simple to get people and baggage between the 2 sites. So it'll be real slick this year.
Okay, airport shuttle and Des Moines shuttle. Please do not fly out Saturday. You're gonna have to find an Uber, I think, to pick up the airport. Shuttle to Des Moines on Saturday night. If you have a flight before 8 a.m. on Saturday morning, we are going to ask that you take the shuttle Saturday night to a Des Moines airport that will shuttle you to a Des Moines hotel. Yep. That will shuttle you over to the airport. Our crew gets run ragged that Saturday, and we just simply, a pre-8 a.m. flight isn't in the cards from Grinnell. So we started that a couple of years ago. We run Sunday morning shuttles. Generally, most flights out of Des Moines happen relatively early. In the mid to early afternoon, and we'll get you to the airport in plenty of time on Sunday morning, as long as the flight is after 8 o'clock. I will have to follow up on that. I'm not certain if they hang all the bikes or not. Mark is asking if Pork Belly hangs the bikes or blanket wraps them.
I believe they blanket wrap them, and some of them get hung, but they don't hang anything with carbon wheels. Okay. I think is what the policy is.
We'll check into that and get back to you on that, so you'll have a definite answer on that. Thank you for that question. Kyle Yeager is the main contact from here on out. He is, how long have you been with me?
Since like 2003.
Yeah, he was a very, very young man when he started in the bike shop. But
I've been doing this over half my life.
Yeah, he's been the RAGBRAI director for the last 4 years.
I think it's 4 years.
4 years.
I've been doing the charter since 2011.
Yep. He's got a darn good system down, but we're always open to new ideas and exploring what we can. But Kyle will be your main contact, and there his information. Of course, I'm always available as well. I'm at the bike shop for any further questions. We enjoy being ambassadors for RAGBRAI. We enjoy helping people have a good time. Dave usually does this out of the goodness of his heart and a couple of nice dinners and maybe a gas card, maybe. But my sister, she really makes the big bucks, so no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the little sister. I do whatever you tell me to do.
That's right. But we have a good time, and we want you to have a good time. And if you have any questions, please let us know. So we're going to open this up just for a few questions. I mean, we've been answering them as we went along, but if you have something specific that you'd like to ask, or general, or anything, please type it in. We do the type format just because people have barking dogs in the back and crying babies, and then I don't know. It's just better if you type it. That way we can see it. We have a question about, what do you suggest for packing for overnight comfort? Wow. I would say a Speedo. When it's 100 degrees outside, man, it sometimes can be just downright unbearable. Actually, a microfiber sheet of some sort is probably about all you need. And I've seen a number of people have little small battery operated fans. Sometimes having just a tiny bit of air movement can make all the difference in the world as to how comfortable how comfortable you are in the tent. So those are the things that I would suggest. Jim Patterson says, is there any way to get service if there is a mechanical problem on the ride in between towns? And the RAGBRAI bicycle shops are assigned in every pass-through town. They are noted on the maps, and we do have the ability to communicate between us. There are SAG vehicles that do drive the route and will pick up a broken bicycle out on the route and take it to a repair shop to see if it's repairable. If it's something simple like a flat tire, you should be prepared to fix that yourself on the side of the road. More often than not, there'll be 10 different people stop and ask you if you need help. And so it's really a pretty helpful environment out there. The Air Force does ride with some small toolkits and does often help broken down cyclists. There's been some of that. So yeah, that's the kind of the answer to that, is get from town to town. The InStyle folks, we don't have towels for the InStyle. We do have bedding, sheets, and pillows, but we don't have towels. So bring a couple of towels. Mike asked, please reaffirm we send our bikes to you by the 17th. Correct. If you are shipping your bicycle, we would really like to have that by the 17th of July. Once again, that is because if there's damage, or B, if it somehow gets lost in the system, we have some opportunity to prepare, for those circumstances. If you're driving here with your vehicle or with your bike, you can't get it here by the 17th, or you don't need to have it here the 17th. But if you are shipping your bicycle, you would like to have it here by the 17th of July. And what else can I speak to that? We really haven't had too many problems as of late. Another charter I know last year had a problem with one bike that got lost in shipping, and they came to me, and we got them a bike and got it taken care of. But it really is it is a good thing to get those bikes here early. And like I said, we do our best to give it a quick visual to make sure that it hasn't fallen off the conveyor belt. Any other questions out there? Like I said, Kyle, you can email Kyle, or you can also call the bike shop. We want to do a good job, and right now we're eagerly getting some of our equipment out and getting it refreshed, and we're going to get the shower trailer put back together from its winterizing, and have it ready to go in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully everything will go great. Like I said, we're gonna add this little laundry facility. If anybody has any input on that, I've been searching the internet, and like I said, we got 5-gallon buckets with plungers, and you can use some kit wash to wash your clothes, and it'll be interesting to see if it works out. So Kyle is kind of suspect of it. So all right, well, thank you for joining the 2018 Bikes to You RAGBRAI Charter webinar, and we look forward to seeing you in later July.